Okay, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic today. We're going to be covering executive condo EC.
That's right.
So actually, is it always a winner? I mean, what's the common thing as an agent you always hear about? You know, the EC, when people talk about EC.
Generally, people feel that EC confirm make money.
Do it. Confirm guaranteed chop plus chop. So first of all, I think, you know, when we look at EC, we need to understand who is it for, which we will be talking about it, and how it will make sense to you. But before all this, we need to understand, really does EC make sense or not? And there's only one way to find out. How?
Let's look at the data.
Yes, let's look at the data. So right away, we're going to zoom in, okay, into this EC analysis that we have prepared for you today. Now, when we do this exercise, right, of course, you know, the upcoming EC, we need to take reference from the newest EC that's going to be launching soon. And this will be the Coastal Cabana in Pasir Ris. So I'll be referencing this data and units and condo. To be able to make this fair, we need to look back in time to back then, the latest EC that was launched UOP and has really started selling already. And we need to find referencing condo that has been launched at the same time. There is no way that we can totally find ECs that are launched at the same time, same date, same month. So we will only be able to reference to the nearest. So of course, disclaimer, all these are our own effort of research based on public data. It doesn't represent Promax or us in any way. If you're looking for it, the best way for you to clarify before taking action is to do fast or speak to your agent whom you think is credible enough to be able to help you to analyze and make a good decision. So when is Coastal Cabana going to be launched?
That will be the first plot that is in the east, so it's on the 6th of December. So end of the month, it will be preview already.
So you mean that will be, I mean for ECs, there's probably going to be last two plot in the next few years already. So
one of the last two lah.
One of the last two
yes.
Okay, so this will be the first of the last lah. Alright. Without further ado, I'm going to be comparing Oasis at Elias, C Strand, which is a private condo, okay, which was launched very similarly to the time that Belisa was launched.
Yes.
Right, so around the 2010, 2011, 2012 period. Okay, looking into the data, just simply by looking at their trend, okay, when we look at Belisa, it actually saw a whooping 100% growth, 102 in fact. So what does this mean?
That is crazy. Like if I were to buy at 800,000, I would sold it at 1.6 million. Like earn 1 million over the course of
almost 1 million over the course of 10, 11 years, right? Then what about the referencing condo? Now, Oasis and Elias actually make a 41% returns, and as well as C Strand, barely about 51%. So when we look into this data, it is easy for us to say the EC is double the performance of the non-EC. Right. But how does this percentage represent to us? Right, I mean HDB can have a lot of big gain, but because their PSF is only 300 or 400 at one point of time, so 100% can be a $300 difference.
I mean, obviously, when I look at the numbers, EC makes a lot of sense in this case when we compare, especially during the similar time period, right? But it's really more of also like, can I buy? Because there's EC, in buying an EC, there's a lot of eligibility and there's a lot of income ceiling and there's a lot of controls over whether you can buy or not. So it's not whether I should buy or not, it's whether I can buy or not. Especially the demand in the recent years has been so strong for ECs.
Correct.
Yeah.
So looking at this number, I also want to reference back to actual transaction details so that we are able to pinpoint. I was saying, you know, you can have 100% gain, but 100% of 300 PSF is only 300 PSF. If 40% of the 1000 PSF is 400,000, it could still be more, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So when we look into this, right, what we want to see is comparing transaction that was bought back then as early as 2011, 2010 and sold in the last 2 years. Right. So when we look at Belisa, okay, first of all we'll be comparing the three bidders lah. Okay, that we are looking at, and we are comparing 3 units bought between June 2011 to October 25, right? So for Oasis and Elias, they all bought in the same very close range, and they sold at very similar timing. Okay, and when we look at the entry price of this unit, well, Belisa actually bought at 700 plus. Whereas Oasis paid a bit more. C Strand was the gentleman that paid the most during this period of time. At launch, it was already selling at about $1 million. In fact, about 800 plus PSF to back then, right? So when we look back into the transaction and today we capture the data, unfortunately we are not in the ability to show you the actual unique number, but come to us, we can show you exact similar numbers for your other condos as well, right? But now here is the time for the profit. When you look at Belisa, we will see that actually it had a 750,000 profit. Like this guy only bought the property for 739,000.
Yeah, over 100%.
Correct. What about Oasis at Elias? In fact, 637,000. I didn't feel that it fared too badly, but of course, having another 120,000 in the pocket, it will feel good. Alright, what about C Strand? The gentleman who bought almost 300,000 higher than the EC, they still make a good profit, closing into 600,000. Right, but when you look at the difference, it's 140,000 difference. 140,000, if you were to exit at the same time, it could mean by leverage, it could mean a 600,000 difference in your next property.
Actually, if we were to look at the time period that these three units that we were comparing, the time period of purchase and the sale is very, very similar. So in terms of, because their quantum is different, so in terms of profit, it actually too big of a gap lah.
Yeah, not too big of a gap, but it does favor Belisa. I mean, of course, if you look at this gentleman at Belisa who bought about 700,000, as compared to $1 million, I keep saying $1 million from the seasoned gentleman, yes, 300,000 difference. But if you look at costing over these 10-11 years, actually it does make a difference, right? Because you got more interest costs. Right. So let's look at the 4-bedder. Now, 4-bedder at Belisa, right? Similarly, they make 100%. Okay?
Performance is very similar.
Very similar. This time, Elias seems to have a bigger percentage win over C Strand. Right. However, when we look back into the actual profit, okay, back then the 4-bedder actually bought in Belisa bought for 900. Right. Oasis bought at 980, and of course C Strand at that point of time was sold at 1.3 million. Now we need to note that actually for Oasis and C Strand in this example are actually shortlisted ground floor unit, because we have to have a point of comparison. So if I'm going to put lower gains from the standard unit, it might not be so alluring. So I put the largest gain, but they also have a bigger square footage, right? So but it's interesting also to know that actually in Pasir Ris, a lot of people say ground floor cannot buy on, got kachua, got this, got that. But honestly, in this location, it seems to appreciate ground floor unit. Again, then we look at the profit now. Belisa actually saw 831,000 profit. Actually, if you look at this, between 3-bedder, 4-bedder, what do you think? The profit difference, right, is probably about less than 100,000. Or 3-bedder or 4-bedder, does it really matter so much when it comes to the EC?
But there is almost close to 100,000 difference.
Still 100,000, but you get to stay lah. So for the gentleman who got the chance to buy that 3-bedder in C Strand back there for $1 million, right? Actually, they would have considered Belisa, they will be paying lower for a bigger unit.
For all you know, they tried to apply for Belisa and can't get it.
For chance lah. They apply, they cannot get it. But whoever you are, if you are looking at this, I'm just quoting, this is fictional, I don't know you. Look at Elias, they actually make a 700,000 difference. Okay, for C Strand, they only make about 400,000 difference. But this transaction was done in Jan 2024, and there's no subsequent 4-bedder transaction in C Strand right thereafter. Maybe they could sell about 1.8 million or 1.9, that would have brought the profit up to another 200,000. So we could look at close to a 600k as well. Okay, not everybody buy a property is for gain, right? The truth is, all of these units, whether it's EC, it's condo, they are very deep appreciate over time. But I know an owner who bought this C Strand, and when I show her the data, she said she's still very proud. She said, although I didn't make so much, but this is the only condo that's just right next to the school my boys are going. Right? And this convenience is worth all the world to her.
So the kind of preference that we will not be able to from our perspective, I think we can actually share all the numbers that in terms of how much it makes sense from the numbers. But from the preference perspective, it's priceless lah.
There's no sure way. Again, we always say we focus on value. And value doesn't really just come from monetary gain, you also the perceived enjoyment. For Sea Strat, for what I know, is a very, very desirable condo.
Yes.
If you are staying in Sea Strat, you see this video, please don't hate us. We're just taking this data out. So, by buying a property, we know so far from what we gather, EC seems to make the knowledge worthy.
Yeah, correct. So that's the right choice, basically. Not in terms of right choice, but really more of you really want to see a capital appreciation, and the most capital appreciation appears to be, from the EC perspective. But so now we want to kind of deep dive into whether is it a good time now, or is there a good opportunity out there that we should enter now, if for example for the HDB owners, the upgraders, or the first time buyers that are looking at this video, is this the right time?
Correct.
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about our land costs from the perspective of only looking at the EC land costs. Why acting early matters. We have actually plotted out some of the land costs for the ECs only, specifically from 2018 all the way to 2022. So you can see that actually not a lot of difference in terms of the land price.
Correct.
But subsequently, as you can see, the recent years, for example, from 2024 onwards, which basically are the upcoming ones you can see that seems like developers are more aggressive in terms of their bidding of the land costs.
Yeah.
So there is a segmentation between like the past before 2022 and the upcoming ones. There seems to be a difference in terms of the land price.
Correct. There seems to be a drop somewhere towards the end. Well, but this one new town not tested. So
another thing that is interesting from what we have plotted over here is that actually we noticed that the land price of these ECs that have been bidded in the yellow zone there's not a lot of difference, right? But we do see that their launch price are actually quite big difference.
Oh really? I mean, when you look at this number, you can see that the land price is about probably almost $40 with PSF difference between 2018 to 2020.
Correct.
But the price difference is about 400,000 difference there.
Yeah, so especially over here where the gap starts to widen a little bit more. So in terms of their markup, right, from the developers, I mean, do you think that they just want to earn more? Despite that I bid the land cheaper, but maybe I want to earn more.
Maybe like what most of my customers say, developer very greedy. Are they really very greedy?
Yeah, but like everyone know, right, post-COVID, all our inflation kicks in, all the construction costs and everything, all the costs went up, building costs went up, which is why
copy also went up.
Absolutely, and it's like the markup that they have to do. What we observe is that before that is probably hovers around 2 or 2 plus a little bit, but as we move towards here, right, it's at about 2.2 times in terms of their markup.
Correct.
Do you think that going forward, it will be like that, or do you think that they will mark up further?
I think the key thing is the reality is we are in an environment where consumer price index is already at an all-time high. The US has been sustaining this inflation, trying to counter the inflation through a high interest rate. But amidst all this heightened inflation, the prices the interest rate has dropped further because I think they couldn't hold it. Under different pressures, they have decided to cut rates. And given this, it will only mean that inflation will continue to chomp for the next year.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if we are looking at them, especially land costs went up, building costs went up. So I think in the foreseeable future, we would expect that, potentially the prices will set another new height.
Yeah, GST also went up.
If we look at the projects in the pipeline going forward, right? So upcoming, the last 2 plots in the east, we are looking at the example that you pointed out earlier, Coastal Cabana, and the plot in Tampines. So these are coming like beginning the first quarter of the year, as well as the Coastal Cabana preview is end of the month.
6 December, right?
Yes, that's right. But other than these two, right, just for our viewers to know that these are what is upcoming that is in the pipeline. From the EC's perspective, another interesting thing that we see from here, right, is that you see, actually there's not a lot of difference in terms of their land cost, but the estimated break-even.
It's a $40 difference.
Yes, so between the two projects in the east, if you look at the east, so there is not a lot of difference in their land cost, but their break-even price, there's actually a difference.
The computer break-even price is about at 1,003. The developer, I mean, we know that Coastal Cabana is going to be coming in about 1,006 plus PSF so far as at the time of recording. Looking at this number, looking at Newville, Japanese, what do you think the price will launch at?
I mean, if this is going to be the break-even price, right, I would say the developer will be looking at least like a 20% kind of.
Because we know, in your slide you show us what's the last launch in Japanese and how much was it. But we know some of this launch has gone up to about 1,009 already.
Yes, so in the next slide. These are all the new sale price that we can see. And the last one that Jason pointed out, where in the last 5 years, actually we have grown 41% for the EC price. And the last one in Autoplace already sold at 1,009. What does this tell you?
Basically, it will give a lot of confidence to developer who has launched. I mean, if you look back in the last few years, right, all the EC launch, I mean, they go by first phase, second phase, first timer, then remaining unit for second timer, they will
always up.
So you give a lot of confidence to the developer to enter, and the government also has been discussing about, maybe increasing the income ceiling.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens when the income ceiling is increased? More people get to buy.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why the land price has been sustained very close is because it's marked up, they see marked by the ceiling of the income ceiling. Developer also don't have to be too high, right? But seeing the numbers, seeing all this, if the income ceiling does really push through, then what will happen is prices probably will go up. It gives us an opportunity, which means what you are buying now is like what you are buying back in 2019 before the market picked up. Still a good deal, a good timing.
Correct. Based on what the prices is, we are probably looking at even like maybe around here around this period. If you are talking specifically about Coastal Cabana, so whatever it is, we already hit the price high in Tampines for 1,009 already, and this is new sale. This one is not resale. So that is something for you guys to think about.
So at 1,009 transacted, and we know that Coastal Cabana will probably be coming in about 1,006, will it then mean that it's probably some opportunity for the buyers as well?
Yeah, definitely. So that is where we are looking at timing. Whether is it a good timing, whether there's opportunity, and whether or not you get to buy it. In terms of identifying a safe zone, right? So this is where we want to actually drill. Take an example of what is going to be launched very, very soon, and then try to use that to do a case study. And similarly, that is what we usually do for the rest of the other developments. So when we do an analysis, then we'll be able to understand the market, the area, and whether or not it's going to be a safe bet.
Yes, within the zone of a safe bet. That's what we do all the time.
So specifically for this case study, we look at Coastal Cabana. So Coastal Cabana is actually, if you see here, it's located right opposite downtown east. So this particular plot here.
Going home like going to chalet.
Yeah, so right. I guess that is also why, like what you mentioned, the first floor units for the 4-bedder seems to be, wiped out and seems to give you like good profit because in that area, the resort living is something, the quietness, the serenity is something that people actually look at.
Relax.
Correct. So Coastal Cabana, the name already says that, we are beside the coast. We are very, very near to the park and we are very, very near to, all the amenities. Right. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. Okay, obviously downtown east is opposite us. Wild Wet is just right next to it. It has a good amount of schools that is nearby, as well as the amenities. So we have already mentioned that this is going to be one of the last 2 ECs in the east, right? What we have previously launched, like for example, if we look at other ECs around the area of, let's say, 100 Palms. 100 Palms has been, you know that there is actually very good profit there. Why? There's no MRT there. So roadside is there, so it's within 1 kilometer to roadside, right? Which is also why that is what attracts people to go into that area. Other developments, they are actually nearer to the MRT. So over here, what we have is actually the amenities.
It has the making of an A-star. For example, City Life, Trillion, they are very close by to the Tampines Hub area. Right? They also saw a big profit. So for this one, it's actually just right over downtown east.
Correct. So it's in we are just right next to it. Obviously, in front of you, you can actually have all your amenities right at your doorstep. So, and also of course we are also next to all the schools, with all the primary schools. We have good primary schools like Pasir Ris Primary that is nearby, and some of the schools are. So for Coastal Cabana, this is what we know is the last 2 ECs in the East. So for the next 2 years at least. So what do we have over here? Actually, we are right next to the shopping center. Wow, so happy, excitement. It's like when
NTUC.
Correct, whatever you need is just right at your doorstep.
Correct.
Downtown is just right next to us, right? And besides shopping mall, you have a park. And it's our famous Pasir Ris Park.
Yeah. Can walk the dog.
Can, obviously. Then and the Wild Wild Wet is also there. So that is, I mean, pretty amazing in terms of the amount of amenities that is nearby Coastal Cabana. And of course, because being a mature estate, it has all the schools and whatnot, coffee shop, everything is there. So easy for you to actually get your everyday stuff settled. And most importantly, right, we have a good supply of BTO near there, and the possibility of exit after 8 years after an
Actually,
MOP.
our timing is quite similar to the BTOs, because if they were to MOP in the next 1-2 years, or at this point of time, what will happen is in the next few years MOP coming up, they will be very similar to our timing of MOP for the Coastal Cabana. Which means to say now, if I have Coastal Cabana, at least if they take 3 years to build, you probably can only exit about, let's say, 2033, correct? So this BTO will probably come in and be able to exit somewhere around 31, 32. And during this period of time, as they start to sell, start to rally, their next choice will be still around.
Yeah. It's natural that if I stay in Pasir Ris, then possibly I will be looking at an upgrade within Pasir Ris itself. And somewhere that, I mean, the location is fantastic. Okay, we take a look at the site plan of what is actually positioned. Jason, what do you see from here?
Wow. Actually, I feel that 2 things. I look at it. Number one, the 4-beders actually make up more units than the 3-bedder.
Correct. So this is not something that we usually see in the market out there, right? For the new launches. A lot of times, the developers usually cater to a lot of 3-bedders.
In fact, I think this is quite clever because they bring more unit types that is really in a low supply in this location.
Yes.
And 3-bedders, then naturally we always know 3-bedder demand is always high.
Yeah.
So that will actually keep the pricing. Demand and supply. When demand is high, not so many units selling, probably the price will escalate further as well. Right? Actually, it's good, very very smart.
Yeah, so another thing that we actually observe is that all these units, right, are actually like point block units.
I mean, every floor there's only 4 units, right? Wow, that's a lot of privacy,
Yeah, so you can get a sort of like a corner unit for every.
Guarantee a corner unit. So, what does it mean to us when we look at all this? Well, first of all, the underlying choice of identifying a safe product is it must have the selling point, the benefits of staying in this location, so that at the point of exit, when people come into your estate, they will realize that this is the place that I want to be in there. Right? This development being just right next to downtown East, you will have the highest visibility for people who has been traveling for downtown East. I mean, the surrounding neighborhood, they will also go downtown by East one, right? Now I got my favorite Utapa, got nice Kawaza, NTUC. With this visibility, every day you go past, what will they have in mind? It's good to stay here. Naturally, you bring demand into the place. But still, we cannot let the emotional side of things carry us away, right? Because having all these factors doesn't mean that you will have a good exit. So far we identified 2 things Okay, number one, EC does make sense if you are looking at long term.
Yeah, because of the MOP period that you have to stay
Right. If you can't buy EC, we also see that resale also make money, new launch also make money during this period of stay. But consider this, if you are looking at a place for long-term stay, right? If you have a kid growing up in this area, right, going to primary school, going to secondary school, easily is 10 years already. If you have a younger one, that plus 2, 10, 12 years in this location. Right, so I would say that this is a good consideration if you are planning to be in the location for a long time. Alternatively, if you are more flexible in timing, there is a possibility for you to change one. If you are thinking short term, like maybe 4-5 years, then I would think that you may want to consider private condo. This is because you won't have a lock-in barrier, right?
Don't have to wait so long.
Still, we need to come back to the data.
Yes.
Let's compare the prices of Coastal Cabana and look at the expected selling price. Then we compare to surrounding resale price.
Yes.
Then this journey will make sense because first we identify the EC makes sense. Second, we realize that this is a good timing, right? Because now we also saw Auto already selling at 1,900. We already know that the EC prices are at that area. We still can go back in time to buy at 1,600, 1,700. 人生有几次有这种机会 right or not? Then so timing and opportunity seems to be there, and this seems to be a good product in our perspective, right? So next we look at the resale to determine if really this is really safe enough. When we look at the Cabana, Coastal Cabana 3-bedder, okay, there is generally two types, the 872 square feet and 915 square feet. Okay, between these two units, the main difference is the study area.
Right.
Okay, you'll be pleased to understand that most of these 3-bedder, the bedrooms are 9 meters square. Okay, so good size bedroom, got a proper kitchen
and household shelter.
Right. So the only difference between these two developments, these two unit, not development, these two units is whether you need an additional study or not. Right. Some people buy 4-bedder just because they need another room for the study. This solves that need for it. Okay, and commonly we understand today we already know that the smaller tree will start at 1.45. A new launch at 1.45, like brand new house at wow, 这是回到过去的。Then we look at these 3-bedder some more, right? And then when we look at this higher markup at 1,008 per square foot for the bigger unit, it's probably only about 1.65. So we need to say that 3-bedder, okay, will come into the market between 1.45 to 1.65. Now that we have this information, then it's easier for us to reference what is our neighbors selling for and how much are they transacted for. So to begin with, when we look around this area, there is actually just in the estate of Pasir Ris. Pasir Ris, there's 3 zones. Commonly, somewhere around here, we have Cocoa Palms, we have Dines, Pallet, and then we have some here, Whitewater, View A, Oasis and Elias, which mentioned earlier, and then there is also a large ones here. So we're going to compare particularly to this zone. This zone to me is the Pasir Ris experience because this is the area where you are nearer to the coast, nearer to the sea, and then you have downtown links here, the amenities. What we did not mention is Pasir Ris 8. I feel that it's not a good comparison because it's a mixed development, and at the same time, the moment I bring up Pasir Ris 8, this one will be even cheaper. It will feel very cheaper because the transacted price is already on a benchmark in Pasir Ris already.
Yeah. And one thing to mention is also that for Coastal Cabana, it's actually a harmonized project.
Correct.
Yeah. So compared to the developments around that which are non-harmonized, so in terms of the square feet, it may appear smaller. Therefore, when you calculate the kind of quantum,
it makes it even lower.
Yeah, it is like no-brainer.
So when we look into this area now, first of all, downtown East is here. Okay. Then in this zone there is 2 XEC, which is OEC, older EC, older colors and sea horizon. Then besides that we have C strength and Reperme and CAS star. When we look into the median price of the transaction in the last 6 months, okay, they are often in the if I average them out, they are probably in the 1.5 million range.
So people are already, buying into the resale into this area at that kind of price.
Yeah. Except for watercolors, the median price range is about 1.3 plus. But we have to understand one important thing, the upper limit of the sale price. Because median is got lower limit, got higher limit, right? So the upper limit is probably the units with 3 per study, some with storeroom, some without storeroom.
Right.
But it will be interesting to understand they're already selling close to 1.8 already. For the 3-bedder, watercolors is already inching at 1.8 million already. Right. One thing we know, Coastal Cabana is going to be selling 1.5, 1.6 versus a higher limit of what already transacted at 1.8 million today. Okay, the question you need to ask yourself: the launch price versus the resale transaction in the area, does it make sense?
And how old are these developments?
probably about in the range of 10 to 15 years old. Right. So what I want to tell you also is that, it is very hard for us to determine fully whether it is a safe zone without going through your numbers, without going through the details. The only way for us to do this is to be able to calculate. Because most often it's not about calculating about how you can afford to buy. It is about understanding how you can afford to continue financing and when is your exit point. There is also another factor of safe zone that is in the criteria. Alright? Now, when we look at the 4-bedder is actually in the 1012 and 1206 square feet range. You might think that this is a bit small for the 4-bedder side, but we have to keep in mind this is a harmonized project, which means if transformed, it plus about 7 to 8% difference. Right? But what is important is still the 9 meter square bedroom, alright, has a store. The bigger unit actually, what happens is they have a flexi. Right. So for the 4-bedder, when we're looking at the smaller unit, right, it's actually close to 1.7 million to about 1.8 million. I would think that this is still quite reasonable. Considering the bigger unit at 1206 square feet, right, you will somewhere be in the range of about 1.9x to 2.2x. These are numbers. We have a range already, ma. Generally, we look at the 4-bedder, it can range up from 1.7x to all the way to 2.2x. That's a moving 500,000 difference. But let's look at what is in the location. Right? So when we look into this area, there is about 12 projects. For this example, I'm not going to bring C-Strand because really, as we mentioned earlier, in the last 2 years, there has not been a transaction. Right, we want to look at what has been transacted in the last 6 months. When we look at Siesta, Ripper Bay, Watercolors and Sea Horizon, they are averaging in the 1.9 million range. Okay, Watercolors is about 1.6 plus. Alright, for some reason, I mean, if you've been to Watercolor, you might realize that the units are on the smaller scales. Okay, at the point of time when they were developed and launched, it was a bit there was creativity applied so that affordability is there. Okay, but when we look back into this zone, okay, at 1.8, it's also interesting to know that the upper limit is about close to above 2 million.
2.4.
So simply said, when you look at to this area, right, you look at these prices versus these prices, right? Okay, are you buying a new launch at the price of the resale? Do you have more leads compared to the resale numbers?
Yes, I think definitely there's no doubt about that. When we are looking at how much people are buying into the area, how much they are willing to spend into the area, especially for a 10 to 15-year-old development. Then if I'm going to be new after 8 years, newer
than the rest of the market,
they will probably be about 20 over years old already, and then I'm still like 5 years old.
Right. So having gone through all this, right, I think these numbers, we all know EC brings about excitement. It is built for subsidy so that HDB owner get a chance to upgrade. It is done to replace the old system of the HUDC. Right? And when we look into this, right, naturally we hope we can buy.
Yes.
But the question is, can we really buy or not?
Yeah, there are so many considerations. There are so many in terms of timeline mapping, in terms of financial numbers.
Basically, eligibility.
And payment schemes that we really have to. You really have to understand what you are in for when it comes to an EC purchase.
Correct. So on this part, we'll be coming up with part 2 of this to tell you, do I really qualify? If you are asking a question now, you should be looking out for this video. What are the options? And also we'll be doing case studies of mortgage, so that you can understand whether if this is for you. Yeah,
so you can see whether any one of these case studies you fit into this, and then what can you do. So do follow us for part 2 of our video, just to understand a little bit more about this space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
you.